Knows me knows I am definitely in my thoughts about this Alton Sterling situation, the death of the 37-year-old black father who died in the hands of the police in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was murdered. It was caught on camera, and he was murdered by being shot multiple times while being pinned down on the ground in front of a convenience store selling music CDs. They said he was armed, but he did not have his gun out, nor was he reaching for his gun. Like I said, he was already pinned down on the ground when he was shot multiple times in his chest and in his head. We're going to have to get it together as a nation. And when I say get it together, I mean like we needed to get it together like yesterday, like 60 years ago. We need to get it together. In no way, shape, form, or fashion was that acceptable. It is not acceptable. We cannot keep tolerating this. We as a country need to pull it together. This is not okay. Are you guys not paying attention to our nation right now? Situation in particular, we have a problem here. And the people who keep trying to act like we don't have a problem, who keep trying to act like we're just out here complaining and whining, we really need you guys to see it. We really need you guys to see it. And it's not that you guys don't see it, it's just that you don't want to see it. And what's weird is that it's kind of like you're naive to it, but then it's such an arrogance about being naive to it that it's really annoying. And we really would like it if you guys would just try for a second. Funny, but what the majority isn't realizing is that minorities are around the majority most of the time because y'all the majority. So therefore, no matter where we go, every day, most of the minorities are around and encountering the majority every day. We have to learn everything about y'all. We have to learn y'all's history. From K through 12, we learn about the majority. We are in classrooms filled with the majority. We are in work settings filled with the majority. We learn about the majority. Most of us work for companies where our bosses are part of the majority, because that's just where it is. We know about the majority. We learn most of it from y'all, from hanging around y'all, from being around you guys, because that's how we have learned you guys. We have nothing but proof of the majority, just because that's how we are ingrained, because that's who we are around, that's who we learn about. We learn small portions about ourselves and through life, period. How much do the majority know about the minorities? Not as much, because most of their assessment is based off the fact that they are around a minority of the minorities. They get most of their assessment from television, from movies, from, radio programs, and from what they see. And, that's a very small portion. That's why most of the television shows that you see a lot of minorities on network television were depicted a crazy way, because who owns the television programs that they watch, even the newscasts? The majority. So if they not out here talking to those of us who are the minority, who are actually living the real world, then how can they have the same knowledge that we have towards them? Basically, what I'm saying is our knowledge doesn't equate. This is a subject that we are smarter than you on, and it is arrogant to sit there and degrade us by acting like we don't know what we're saying and we don't know what we're talking about on something that we live with and you just observe. It's not fair to equate it, and it's privilege. Period. That's privilege. Because anything that most of the majority knows about the minority was the small stuff they got in school. Because to learn anything about the minority, you have to do your own research. You have to learn on your own, whereas we learn about the majority all our lives. Period. Problem, and what are we going to do about it? And by we, I mean we. Us. Those of us who keep getting oppressed. Those of us who keep getting angry. We have to do something. Women, these are our men. These are our kids. These are our fathers. These are our cousins. These are our brothers. What are we going to do about it? Because it's obvious that they not picking locations. It's obvious this is going to be everywhere. So what are we going to do? How are we going to protect ours? We need to figure out something, and figure out something now. What are we going to do? Are we seriously not getting that people were ready to fire Jesse Williams for his quote-unquote racist speech? Meanwhile, we really getting ready to elect a man who just called out an entire race and called them rapists and murderers? Seriously? Like, is America serious? We have to be the most self-destructive country ever. Educating our kids? Are we going to start bringing back that work ethic that we have to have back in the day? Because we have to realize that, they was right on Scandal. You got to work twice as hard to get half as much. Are we going to do that? Are we going to put the BS away? And by BS, y'all know what I mean. I mean the shows that degrade our women and the shows that say that monogamy isn't cool and that's tearing down our community. The Love and Hip Hops and the Basketball Wives. Are we going to put that away? Are we going to put down the music that degrades us? The Futures, the Lil Waynes, are we going to put them down and start uplifting music? Are we going to support our own? Don't think that BET didn't set out a signal by completely shading J. Cole. How did that happen? How do, BS artists win awards and J. Cole, who went platinum with no features, with no promotion, get no love at the BET Awards? That's uncool. So are we going to do something about this? Are we going to start supporting the people who promote positivity? What are we going to do? Are we going to start building our own communities again? Because we had them at one point in time, but somehow they got burned down. We need to research that too. Are we going to start showing our kids our own? Start investing in our own communities and start investing in our own people and build our own community up and stop giving our money back to the same people who oppress us? We need to figure this out. Where are our leaders at? This is a call out, because we got to leave something to our kids. And matter of fact, we got to make sure we still have some kids of our own. So we got to figure this out, because how we treat us is how they treat us. Show respect to us. And along the lines, being a real nigga and a bad bitch was like better than being a queen and a king. But we got to shut that down, because I would rather be a queen any day. Like, I don't know when a queen, like, come on now. Do I look like I'm supposed to be a bad bitch? Let's be real. I got a presence that I have to maintain now. Okay, back to the subject at hand. We need to figure it out. But with that being said, I need the majority to think about this too. The majority, y'all need to really chill out until y'all read some books, until y'all do some research, until y'all take yourselves down to Compton or down to Baltimore or down to Chicago, or take yourselves to Detroit or DC or Fayetteville, or take yourselves over there to Cleveland or Flint and really stay in the hood in Bed-Stuy and just talk to the people and see why things are the way they are. Y'all need to really figure things out. Like, we really need to talk about some things. We need to talk about why black women are the most educated women, not even women, the most educated group of people in the country, yet we make 56 cents on average to the white man's dollar. We need to talk about why the government flooded the hood with crack. Oh, yeah, that's true. They flooded the hood with crack. What, you think we went from black and proud and the Panthers and afros and jobs and pride to just all of a sudden being crackheads? Nah, there was a mission there. So we need to talk about why the government flooded the hood with crack, and then all of a sudden mass incarceration came out of nowhere, took our black men out the houses, and all of a sudden black men's prisons records is kind of equal to slave numbers. Let's talk about that. And since we're talking about slavery, let's talk about how slavery still does impact things today, especially why white people have an economic advantage over black people. Let's talk about some things. And let's talk about why a black man's life doesn't matter and why he can get shot and killed on the streets. And you know what? Let's not even convict the people who do it, because you know what? He would have been free had he not done this, had he not talked back, had he not looked funny, had he not done this. He would have, because he's not due process, because when that was made in effect, they were slaves anyway. So they weren't really people, so they don't really count. Let's talk about this. But one thing I will say is I have a great respect for the men of color who are police officers, because I know it's not easy, especially if you're high ranking. I know it's not easy when you see things that are BS that you have to have a backing to, because you know that your brother in arms are your family and you have to have a loyalty to them, even though you know which ones are racist. And you know sometimes that you want to be smacking people and punching people, but you have a career that you have worked hard for, harder than people that you have to work under sometimes. I have a respect for y'all. And you know what? Stay encouraged, brothers who have to sit there in that police uniform every day, knowing that some things are left. You guys work hard, you guys feed your family, and know that I will support you guys. You guys really observe. That's all I'm saying. Observe the differences. Observe the differences. There are differences. Please observe them and quit sniping at each other. We need to quit sniping at each other. Respect the fact that there are differences. That's all. That's it. Because if these were two black cops who did this to a white man, do y'all honestly think that this is the situation? Do you really think those cops would not have already been brought up on criminal charges? Like, just think about it. Think about if things were in reverse, if these situations would be going the same way. And black people, we need to take some time to stop observing white people and observe us. And understand that if we don't notice that some of the things that are happening in our community are just us, then we will not be getting any justice.